Hey, Grant Cardone here with my non-negotiable money tips. Live by these, okay, on the come up, and I promise you, you won't be on the come up forever. One day you're gonna create wealth for yourself and your family. If you like this video, by the way, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. You know, that helps me. More people see it. If you love what I'm sharing here, make sure you share it with your spouse, your family, your mom, your dad. These are 15 tips that I have used over the last 45 years to create the wealth that I have. Keep in mind that I started with no money, no connections, no debt. I built a number of very successful businesses, and these 15 money tips I'm gonna share with you right now is hard and cruel and like tough as they're gonna feel to you, okay? If you live by them, I promise you, you'll create wealth for yourself and your family. Okay, number one rule, never spend more than you earn. I have been doing this since I was 25 years old. If I don't have it, I don't spend it. If I make $2,000, I don't spend more than $2,000. Never spend more than you earn, and never count it until you have it. Just because you went out and made a big sale, money's not in yet. Don't go burn that money, don't go spend that money, and don't become obligated. Number two, if you can't write it off, do not buy it. All these rules, by the way, are for the come up. Once you create wealth and you're super rich and you've made it and you got Elon's money or Bill Gates' money or Warren Buffett's money, do whatever the hell you want. But this is for those of you on the come up. If you cannot write it off, refuse to buy it. Okay, what do I mean by a write-off? I mean, taking my wife out to dinner is not a write-off. But me taking my wife and 2 clients to dinner, yes, is a write-off. I can write off 100% of that because the goal was to build and grow my business. Taking my wife out to dinner is not a tax deduction. I would rather spend $400 and write it off than spend $200 and not be able to write it off. Okay, so if you can't write off, don't buy it. If you look at cars, for instance, anything over about 5,700 pounds, you can write off. I would write that off and pay cash. I would not lease it. If I can't write it off this year, let's say you're buying something smaller, weighs 4,000 pounds, and maybe it's only a small truck, then I'm gonna go ahead and lease that vehicle for 24 months because I can write off more on a lease than I can write off if I simply owned it. Number 3 rule, know exactly what your cost of living is. It is shocking to me how many people absolutely have no idea how much income they make, how much their taxes are, how much their house payment, their car payment, their electric, their water, their utilities, what they're spending on their kids, eating out, Chipotle's, Ubering, like you don't know. If you don't know, you can't control what you're doing, okay? So the first thing you do is got to know exactly where every single penny is going. What are your kids getting? What is your wife spending? What are you spending? What does gas cost you? Oil cost you? Tires cost you? Count it all. If you simply take the last 90 days and look through your checkbook and your credit cards and you just total all that up, that is your cost of living, okay? Take that, divide by 3, and that's what it's costing you to live every month. You need to know that down to a nickel, know exactly what your cost of living is so that you can start, 1, controlling that, and number 2, outgrow that. Number 4, never loan money to anyone, ever. Listen to me, you're not a bank, you're not an ATM, you're not a credit card, okay? You got a name, it ain't MasterCard. It is, I need to make money, I need to take care of family, I need to take care of my business, I need to get my wealth right, I need to create wealth, and then, and not even then, would you ever loan money to anyone, especially friends and family, okay? Do not do it, I'm telling you. Don't solve their money problem. All they're gonna do is suck you into their money problem. So number 4, I have never done this. I've done this one time in literally 30 years. Okay, and that time I was disappointed. Never loan money to anyone. If they can't get it from a bank, they shouldn't be able to get it from you. Number 5, invest only in assets that cash flow. Now, I get a lot of hate on this one because that would exclude you buying a home. Yes, you would not buy a home because the home does not cash flow. When you buy a house on a 30-year mortgage, you're the one that's cash flowing the house. The house does not cash flow you. And this is why I tell you, on the come up, invest in things that cash flow. Rather than buying a car that does not cash flow, why don't you buy a car that you could rent out to the world that would cash flow? Then I would be like, yeah, buy the car. You want to buy a Lamborghini and rent it out every weekend and then you get cash flow? Cool. You want to buy a house, 4 units that cash flows, and you want to live in one of the units for free? Cool, that cash flows. You want to live in a house that you have to feed and pay. You got to pay a mortgage, you got to pay interest, you got to pay maintenance, you got to pay property taxes, you got to pay for the broker fees. Don't do it. It doesn't cash flow. If it don't cash flow, I say no, period. End of story, okay? Number 6, never gamble with money unless you know for sure you're gonna win.
Luck be a lady tonight.
Do not gamble with money. Quit gambling on the stock market. Quit gambling on NFTs. Quit gambling on cryptos. Quit going to casinos. Do not put a quarter in a jackpot machine. Oh, it's just a quarter. Look, if it's just a quarter, you'll never end up rich. If you ever use the word just or it's not much in front of any number, any financial number, you will never end up with money because you're not treating it seriously, okay? Never gamble with your money. Never gamble with my money. Never gamble, period. Number 7, limit all discretionary spending to passive income. What that means is discretionary. I don't need it. I absolutely don't have to have this. It's not a must-have. It's like on a scale to 5, it's like maybe a 3, 4, or 5. 1s and 2s you got to do. 3s, maybe. 4, not necessary. 5, stupid. Discretionary spending should only be done out of passive income. Passive income is not income that I traded time to get, but I made an investment in something that continues to pay me. And that is the only time I will buy the yacht trip, the watch, the bracelet, the necklace is out of passive income earned from an investment, not earned for me trading time for some income. Number 8, credit cards should be paid off every month, okay? Visa, MasterCard, and the American Express is good for one thing. It's like my little accounting, my free accounting program, okay? I bang everything with a credit card so I can track my spending. At the end of 30 days, I pay it off. In, 40 years that I've had credit cards, my interest, I'll bet you I can count the total interest paid to American Express, Visa, MasterCard, which I have put tens of millions of dollars on. I'll bet you it has not amounted to more than $1,000 worth of interest over 40 years, believe it or not, okay? Why? Because I pay everything off. The only time we paid any interest is somebody missed something and didn't pay it in the first 30 days, okay? It was some fluke. It was not intentional. Pay off your credit cards every month. Don't throw them away. Do not cut them in half like Dave told you to do. Don't get rid of your credit cards. You actually need credit cards. I'm gonna bang the credit card. It makes me legitimate. I'm gonna go to the restaurant, hit the credit card. I'm not gonna pay with cash. You don't wanna keep cash because cash is stolen, cash depreciates, cash is lost, and when you have cash, you overspend. Use your credit card, bang it. End of the month, you gotta pay it. Punish yourself at the end of each month to relook. Oh, it's $600 to take Johnny and his wife to dinner and I didn't close the deal. Boom, it reminds me, I need to get Johnny on the phone and close him so I can pay for that dinner I took him on that I already wrote off, by the way, but I need him to pay for that dinner 5 times, not 1 time, because now I'm having to pay for it the second time. See, the first night that I paid for it, I had to look at the bill. When I had to pay for the bill, when I had to pay American Express off, I had to look at it a second time. And that's why I don't pay people with cash, okay? Also, it becomes a reporting system for me. At the end of the year, I don't need to send in a bunch of receipts to the Internal Revenue Service to say this is my bills. I have my Amex, my Visa, my MasterCard to do my reporting for me, okay? Pay your credit cards off every month. Never break that rule. Okay, number 9, lease and rent until you got the big racks. Until you're super wealthy, I'm telling you, lease it and rent it. Don't own it. Okay, you don't need to own it. Use it. Use the rental car. Okay, use everything you can with no obligation to ownership. Don't obligate yourself to a 20 or 30-year mortgage or a 7-year loan if you could simply do a 24-month lease on a piece of equipment. If you look at all the banks, Wells Fargo, they don't own any of their real estate. Bank of America, they don't own any of their real estate, okay? Most of these companies don't own, they lease. JP Morgan leases most of the property they have in New York City. So who are you to, I gotta own my own building, okay? Why do you think like that? Lease and rent until you have massive wealth. And even then, you might wanna lease and rent. Number 10, quit collecting stuff and start collecting assets. It's an asset game, not a bracelet game. You guys got your watches and your necklaces and all your gold and your glitter. You're collecting glitter and I'm collecting assets. I'm putting some ET on my ass. I'm collecting real properties that cash flow and you're collecting bracelets that break. okay? Get assets, don't get stuff. Also for your kids, quit buying your kids stuffy dials and start putting trust in place for them to have real estate, because they're gonna outgrow their stuffy dial and their toys and their little plastics and all the BS that you buy them, and they're gonna grow into the assets that went up in value, by the way, that cash flowed while you waited, that provided you and your family with depreciation, so that when your kids are 15, 16, 17, and 18 years old, they don't have stuff from their childhood, they have assets. Okay, because you made the right decisions when they were kids. Number 11, quit paying your kids allowances, okay? Your kids do not deserve an allowance. They deserve an opportunity to work for you and then pay them. So my kids have never gotten allowances in their life. I don't even know if they know what the word allowance means. They work and we pay them. We have them on a contract. Both of our kids are on contracts. Once a year they get paid. They are then required by contract to deliver a certain number of chores and duties and work in order for that money to be valid on that contract. That money is tax deductible to me. I get to write it off. They're 1099. We send them basically a 1099 at the end of the year. They're responsible for their taxes, okay? I take the $30,000 that we pay Sabrina or Scarlett. That's what their wages are. We take that $30,000, we invest it into a vehicle that I control, Cardone Capital. And Cardone Capital then distributes to them every month a distribution or a cash flow. Let's say that cash flows $150 a month on 30 grand. Every year they earn $1,800, and the $1,800, the $150 a month is what they live off of. In year 2, they get another $30,000. Now their $180 becomes $360 a month. In year 3, they have $120,000 or $90,000 invested, and now they're earning $500 a month. You follow me? Okay, over the period of 10 years, they will end up with $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 invested, because if they get better at their work, you never get better at an allowance, ever. Nobody gets better because they get an allowance. You get better because you work. And I'm teaching my kids how to work. I'm teaching them how to control their assets. I'm teaching them how to control their capital and never use it and touch it. And I'm showing them long-term value of how money appreciates when it's invested. And they have to learn how to manage off the cash flow. Look, a 6-year-old kid should never be given 30 grand. They should be given like maybe $150 and say, do whatever you want with this money. Live off your passive income, never touch your capital. Quit paying your kids allowances, pay them to work. Could be taking out the trash. It could be giving you hugs, okay? I'm like, man, that hug feels so good. Boom, I'm gonna hit you, okay? I'm gonna pay you 30 grand a year, but I need at least 10 hugs a day, okay? Teach a kid how to hug, teach them how to love, okay? Teach them how to work. Number 12, never mix business accounts with personal accounts, ever. Do not mix these accounts. When I'm using a credit card, I might have my American Express be my business card and Visa be my personal card. So that at the end of the year or in an audit, the IRS says, well, why was this for business? Everything on this card is business and everything over here is personal, okay? But never mix these two accounts. You don't mix personal and business. Once I take it out of the business, I put it into my personal account. I don't take my personal account and dump it back into my business. Okay, 13, keep separate accounts when you're married. You guys that are just sleeping together, definitely keep separate accounts. There's no reason to commingle your accounts, okay? Even when you get married, there's zero reason to do this. Keep each person accountable, okay? You got this much money, I got this much money. If you guys are sharing money out of the business or you're sharing how you pay for things, whatever, have separate accounts. My wife and I have separate accounts. It's not because I don't trust her, it's because I do trust her, okay? I trust her to grow her money and to look at her money, okay? We take care of things. We know how we have things divided up, but we have separate accounts. This will also protect you guys that are living with someone that is irresponsible. And you know that happens. Okay, one person's very responsible and the other person's not paying attention. When you have separate accounts, both people have to pay attention. Sooner or later, the guy or the gal, whoever that's irresponsible is going to end up with no money in their account, and the other person that's responsible is going to end up being the healthy partner. And what you want to find out in that situation is who's healthy, who needs to be corrected, who needs to be held accountable so you can fix it. Okay? All right, 14. If you're doing business with somebody, if they won't discuss their finances, you run as fast as you can. If you're going to do business with somebody, you're going to invest money in somebody's business. If you're going to invest money in a project, if you're going to invest money in real estate, and they won't tell you what their personal finances look like, their business finances, if they won't show you inside their accounts, their banks, their bankruptcy, their history, their cash accounts, their investment accounts, their income, if they won't show you, I'm telling you, don't run, fly, and fly as fast as you can. Okay, the IRS, the SEC, I mean, every acronym company knows everything you have already. So don't kid yourself. I can't share that. It's personal. Why can't you share it? You want to do business with me? Share with me where your money's at, okay? If you go get a loan, the bank will know everything about this person. They will know every little nuance, where every nook and cranny is, every spending problem, every spending habit. You guys that are getting in relationships with people, ladies, okay, before you go get in bed with somebody, find out what their finances are. If they won't show you that, come on, hit the road, Jack. Okay, 15, avoid all people that have money problems. Avoid them. Run from them like the plague. They have a problem, and that problem is contagious. Their money problems will become your money problems. Let them go fix those if they can, and then come back. And I know what you're going to tell me. You're going to be like, oh, Grant, man, it's all about the money with you. That's why it's called the non-negotiable money tips. This is about money, okay? I'm staying away from people that got money problems. If I'm a real friend of yours and I'm going through trouble right now, why would I want to bring my trouble to you? Stay away from people that have money problems, okay? These are my non-negotiable money tips. Look, I came up from nothing. If you don't know who I am, literally started with nothing, 25 years old. I had no money, no credit, no finance, no mentor. There was no training or education about money. I knew nothing about it. I just knew one thing. I wanted it. And I also knew that I wanted more than I had. And so I started studying and reading every book I could on finance, all these wealthy people. I ran into this book, The Millionaire Next Door. I'm gonna save my way to money. I'm gonna not drink the coffee, and I'm gonna buy the used truck. Okay, it's ridiculous, okay? You guys that get $1 million, you know less about money than people that are broke, okay? $1 million is not enough money for you. It's not enough money for your future. It's not enough money for your security, and it's definitely not enough money for retirement. These money tips have put me in a position, learning over the last 30 years has put me in a position to really study the money game. How much do I need? How do I account for it? Who do I do business with? How do I create real wealth? How do I create passive income? How do I avoid the tax man? How do I reduce the number one expense? How do I finally get one day to where I deserve to be so that I can take care of the people around me? Okay, not handouts, so I can take care of me and the people around me and actually provide for other people some stability. Look, money won't make you happy, but it'll pay for everything. Okay, it pays for everything, literally everything. Better health care, freedom, options, like everything you want in life, it will require a check, a credit card, some kind of exchange. If you want more money, live by these money tips, and I promise you, if you just stay disciplined on this, make this a code for you and your family, I promise you, you'll create the wealth you deserve. Hey, and if you'd like to know more about my personal wealth creation formula, which is how to get earned income to start being passive income, and how to actually get your passive income, where you're not trading time for money, to equal your earned income, because that should be your first target. If you want to learn more about that, I'm going to give you a link below. It's a $997 program, and I'm going to provide it to you for $1. Okay, literally $1. It's a $1,000 program. It's freaking sick. It's going to show you educationally exactly where you should be, when you should start investing, how you should start storing, not saving money, when you should start moving into other investments, what kind of investments, what percentage of your earned income you should be living off of, and what part of it should you be investing. It's a sick program. If you want to grab it, I'll do it for $1. This will be the only time I offer it to you. I hope you take advantage of it. Most importantly, I hope you comment below what's your favorite non-negotiable, what's your least favorite non-negotiable, and I'm pulling for you to see how many of you see me in a year or 2 years from now and say, bro, I'm living by your 15 and I'm freaking not on the come up anymore. Now I got mine.